I'm here with Jadey O'Regan, Dr. Jadey O'Regan
I'm from the Sydney Conservatorium of Music.
I know, like real musicians. It's crazy. It's awesome.
I'm a pop musicologist.
Oh
That's a thing you can be.
Yeah, that is a thing you can be, kids.
Who knew?
So we're going to talk about things that in Now and Then, which we thought were like, almost like Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
Beatle Easter eggs for nerds.
Delicious.
Yes, so nerdy. The first thing is really the whole sound of the song is, to me, is really Beatlesque.
Yeah, and when we talk about Beatlesque, we're really talking about some very specific kinds of sounds in this song, which is really important for a song like this because we're missing two Beatles. But when we listen to Now and Then, they kind of feel like they're still there, you know?
Yeah. So what sort of elements would you pick out as Beatlesque?
Well, it's hard to go past John Lennon's vocal, which sounds beautiful on here thanks to the AI that Peter Jackson and his team developed around the recording of Get Back. And so that AI program allowed the remaining Beatles to strip out John Lennon's vocal from that old demo, and now we hear it here so beautiful, in such beautiful quality, right? So the sound of his voice, I mean, it's hard to get past that. But then we also have that very George-like solo. It's not George playing it, but it's Paul imitating the beautiful things that George does, right?
And like from a guitar point of view, the tone and everything about it is like it's perfect.
What is the tone?
Well, I think it's like a Stratocaster thing, or maybe on the front pickup, and it's just it's super smooth. And when you listen to George playing guitar, that smooth slide sound is all over all of his other records, and they've absolutely nailed it.
It is, and it feels such a beautiful tribute, you know, to their friend. You've also got Ringo on there doing his very typical, really thuddy tom kind of fills in there. I mean, you can't. This is the thing about Ringo's drumming. It's like there's all those jokes about like, he wasn't even in the. You know the ones.
Whatever.
He was an amazing drummer because he played for the good of the song, right?
Yeah.
100%. Not a beat out of place. It's so supportive. It's so beautiful, and it's here too.
Yeah. That's cool. Number 2. The weird numbers of bars in the verse and the chorus.
Yes, this is a quirky one. And you wouldn't know it unless you were really listening out for it.
Unless you're really listening. So you've got like... third bar, A minor, G. I know I'm going faster than the song. A minor, F, E7.
Ooh, hello.
Now, this is the cool bit. That's 10 bars. It's very unusual. Usually you have an, 8, 16 in a verse,
in
right?
Groups of 4 usually.
Yeah, groups of 4, 100%. And so it's supposed to kind of sort of, without going too much into it, but it is kind of melancholy tune. And I feel that the number of bars sometimes has a big impact on the feeling of the song. Yeah,
it feels like longing, like you think it's going to move somewhere else and it doesn't, and it sort of holds you in there in that kind of restless feeling, and it really works in this song.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
And then in the chorus as well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, second bar, B minor. Ba, ba, ba. Sing along at home, folks. Ba, ba. Da, da. A minor. Which is cool as well, which is something else we're going to talk about, is that little bit at the end where it goes A minor,
that little descendant.
And then there's another one, and I remember hearing this for the first time and I was like, wow, that's a great hook.
Great hook.
They're going to be using that literally all the time. And how many times do they use it? Uno mas, one time,
but that's what makes a great hook, right? It makes it stand out from everything else.
Yeah.
It makes you want to hear it, right?
Yeah.
You want to be like, that's that bit I like.
It's killer. It's so cool. All right. Now, then we kind of skipped through that a little bit. The A sus2.
Yeah, tell us about A sus2.
I love a bit of A sus2.
I love a sus.
I find it reminds me of like... Purple Rain.
Totally. I think A sus2 is the forgotten sus.
Yeah, it's the forgotten
4 gets
sus.
a lot of attention, but 2 is
working... Too much attention.
2's working hard for us today. Oh, Oh,
and it goes like
so
this.
jangly and nice. That's a crowded house one
It
too,
is a crowded
right?
house one.
Yeah.
What are the other ones I'm thinking of? The other one just like listen to that. It's killer, right?
know.
I hope you can hear that.
Heaps of Randy Newman songs use a sus too.
Right.
Totally. And he's a piano player and I'm a piano player, so I kind of hear it from that perspective.
Yeah, right.
But yeah,
That's super cool.
Yeah.
And in the tune, it does this thing where, and this is a really Beatle-y thing. I remember hearing the first time, and you get into the intro, and it's just like, and I was kind of listening it, really, really wanting it to be awesome.
Yeah.
I've got to say.
Yeah.
And then you're like, ba-dum, and you're like, A minor and G. Seriously, is that the best you can do?
That's it. That's all you got.
Oh, rubbish. And then A minor, da-dum, bam, ba-dum, E7, which we're going to talk about in a second.
Hello.
And then so it goes from B to C in the vocal, right? Now, I got to say, I was not expecting you to go up.
Yeah. Yeah, you would think it would go down because, again, I think that's, yeah.
Right?
That's the A4 sus dominance. You think it's going to go down, but the A sus too.
Yeah, it goes up.
It
And
can
it's
go
a
up.
super, super cool move.
It's beautiful. It feels so good, right?
Yeah,
when it
it's
goes
killer.
back up.
It's
Oh,
really cool.
amazing.
Another brilliant hook. Okay, what else we got? Oh yes, that's right. Now I don't know if you have tried to learn this song, and you wanted to sort of play your own George parts. You need to know what key it's in.
Yeah.
And so I've been trying to figure out what key it's in.
What key is it in?
I literally don't
Simon?
know. So it starts off with A minor, and you're like, okay, well that's
Feels A minor-y.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's in A minor. Great.
Feels good.
And then suddenly,
Where's our friend E7?
I don't know. He shouldn't be there, should he?
Where did he come from?
I don't know. He shouldn't be there. We're not going to do a whole sort of music theory video about secondary dominance and everything because that's not super exciting. But it's kind of cool that you get that.
It really pivots on that too.
Yeah.
Like that's where like kind of the emotion really happens.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah.
So think of other cool songs that have that. Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You by Led Zeppelin.
Really?
You know that. Bow.
Oh yeah.
Bow. Kind of
Little
thing. Oh, there's an extra one in
chromatic-y
there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bow. Which is cool.
That's
And
so
there's
good.
heaps of them. How about In the Year 2525 by Zager and Evans?
Oh, hello.
Big cut for you pop nerds. But the same sort,
So relevant.
same sort of thing.
Totally. Well, I mean, just thinking about that, the idea of like what key is it in, I think the fact that it's actually kind of hard to tell is part of what makes it really cool, because when we don't quite know when a key is, we get this kind of feeling of restlessness in us when we listen to it, because we don't really feel like we get that big payoff, that big resolution when we come home to, I guess, the
it's
one.
not like you're going,
Yeah. Oh, there we are. Hello. Welcome home.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do this. And like other songs really work too with this kind of technique around chords. Like if you think of something like God Only Knows by the Beach Boys, which
Right.
again, a song that's very nostalgic about longing, about,
and Jadey is like a super expert in the Beach Boys.
Look, I try sometimes.
Yeah.
That may have been what my PhD was on.
Yeah.
So if you want to do
super
that.
amazing. You should
Come and
check
tell
that
me about
out,
your
actually.
favourite Beach Boys songs is what I'm saying. But God Only Knows does this too. It's like sometimes it feels like it's around A, sometimes it feels like it's around E when it modulates, and then it's like it's really restless, and like that's what makes that song so beautiful, right? Because that's
super
what
cool.
that's what love is. It's like
Yeah.
it's not really one thing or the other. It can be all these things. That's what's happening here too, I reckon.
It's super, super, super cool. And it just goes to... So, I don't know how much about the music theory and stuff but that whole concept of prosody, right? So, where the lyric and the count and the harmony all go to kind of make you feel like a thing. I remember years ago I went to this course run by some dude, sorry dude, I can't remember your name.
I'm sure
but
you're great.
he was from Berkeley, and he came to talk to us, and I was like 18 or 19, which is why I can't remember because I've slept since. And he was like, oh, well, you know, because if you've written a song and it's got like an odd number of bars or something, it's more likely to be a sadder song. And if everything matches and all the chords are in key and la la la. And of course I was 18 or 19, so I was like, what does this guy know? I'm 18 and I know everything. And then I went home and looked through my songbook and there was like loads of that.
Yeah.
Like odd numbers of bars were like the miserable, overwrought teenage songs.
Totally. But I mean, that's what a good chord progression does, right? It's not just chords for chord's sakes. It's like, what is this song trying to say? How is it trying to make us feel? And how does it use chords to get us there, right?
So cool.
Yeah.
This is a great Beatle thing that happens in here.
Yeah, totally.
It's like written by both of them.
Yeah, I know. Like so many of their songs.
Like there's a bit by John and then there's a bit by Paul.
Yeah, Paul jumped in and did that lovely kind of instrumental-y
Yeah,
section
it's
at the
super
end.
cool.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, you know, 2, 3, 4, D7, then D minor. If you want to get a lesson on this, you can check out my lesson. It's here on YouTube.
Yeah.
Which is super cool. And then it comes back into the ba-da, ba-da.
Sort of like We Can Work It Out or
Is a
something
bit,
like that.
yeah.
Or Day in the Life, you know,
Yeah.
two of their songs swooshed.
Yeah, it's great. And then you come to the end of the...
Yeah.
And now, every other songwriter probably ever would go, you... And then... Right, but it doesn't do that. It cuts straight in. So it's almost like that last bar of A minor from the verse becomes the first bar of the outro section. So effectively here we have a 9-bar verse, which is
So
exactly what we were
odd.
just talking about.
So
right?
odd.
So it's super strange, but it's super Beatle-y. And there's so many times in Beatle tunes that you have, it just fits whatever it fits. If you think about Across the Universe, it has all like bars of 2 and 5 in there. It's like,
Yeah.
you know...
We Can Work It Out's the same too.
Yeah.
It's got that little moment of 3/4 in there.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they just do it to match, so the melody's always on top of the tune. And so instead of it being the last bar, A minor, of the verse, it becomes the first bar of the outro, which is just the A minor,
Yep.
G, E7, A minor, G. Now, and then it gets a bit funky, and this is like the end.
It is.
Where you have 1, 2, 3, ba 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 ba. Right?
So cool.
And yeah, we were talking about the resolution there. Does that really feel like a resolution?
It feels like, yeah, it's just left you hanging in a
Like,
way.
you want it to kind of, something to happen, but then, which is cool as well, because I want more Beatles songs, but there are none. But it leaves you thinking,
Yeah, it's like the end of a conversation, but you want to
that's right.
keep calling and being like, and another thing.
everybody has to go home eventually.
That's so true. And when you were saying like the end, you were really meaning like the song The End.
I
as-
was
at
meaning the end, because there's something Jadey mentioned before, because she's super awesome at this stuff.
Yeah, at the end, which is sort of the fourth last Beatles songs, but for a period of time was the last Beatles song. It's the last song on Abbey Road. At the end of the end, after that beautiful line, you know, the love you take is equal to the love that you make. And there's this beautiful triplet bit at the end that just kind of gently kind of guides you home. And Now and Then does this
That's
too.
right. It's so cool.
It's super cool.
Thanks so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Please subscribe and click the bell, and you get new lessons every single week. There's 2 new lessons every single week. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can go to patreon.com/Simon Morel, where you can get access to over 3,000 charts, a whole bunch of extra videos and all that sort of stuff. Jadey, tell me.
Hi, you can find me at the Sydney Conservatorium of Music, but if you really love pop music and you want to learn about how it works, I had a book last year.
What?
I know!
Oh my God, a doctor and an author.
Oh my goodness, finally.
Wow.
And that was written with Dr. Tim Byron, and it's all about how pop hooks work, how songs get stuck in our head, and why we love them so much. So it's called Hooks in Popular Music. You can check it out.
I'll put a link in the description. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.
Bye.
Ciao. Bye. Right. Let's go.
Reset.
It's good. It's good having somebody else here, because it makes me really, really concentrate. Whereas if I'm here by myself, it's like, oh.
Do you want me to give you a mark?
No, it's all good.
There you
It's
go,
all good.
HD.
HD
There
for
we
me.
go.
Thank you. Wow, that's written down. That's serious. Okay.